All right, let's get to it here today. 215-592-9494. To the birds in a moment. Let's start Phils. Your Ranger. I mean, look, I'm not going to blast the Phils. I understand why. I think we could all see this coming. I'd used this phrase many times over the last many months, going back into last season. No room in the inn. No room in the inn. You get 5 starting pitchers, and the reality is it looks like Andrew Painter's ready to go, and you got 4 other guys under contract, and so, that's what happens. But it doesn't mean... 2 things. One, it doesn't emotionally hurt because Ranger is one of our dudes, one of their better players, one of their best players. And also for me, my favorite Philly. I've been very clear about that. He's been my favorite Phil.
And it feels like he's been here for so long.
Well,
just since he was a child.
Since he was 16.
He's been in Philly for 14 years.
Yeah.
Think about that.
No, I get it. So, it hurts on the emotional side. It's also a sign that, you only have a couple guys left that have really been here through this journey. If you wanted to win with this group, sort of you wanted to see the Eagles win with Donovan and Doc, they never did. You wanted to see the Flyers win with Lindros and LeClaire, they never did. There's only a couple guys left that, have been this era. And really, the whole time now has been, Bryce and Nola and Wheeler and Schwarber. But, the list is getting short because Cassie's going to be gone.
And
JT
Bowman
might be gone.
For what it's worth,
yeah. So...
You love someone, set them free, Joe. Maybe Ranger will come back after 5 years.
Well, I used to think about that, about Schilling, and it never happened. So, look, we'll take your reaction. Do you think the Phils made a mistake? How do you feel? It's okay to feel that it's the right thing for the Phillies to do, but really a huge bummer. That's where I'm at. I'm not criticizing the Phils for not giving them $130 million. They need bats. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt you emotionally.
They better get that bat.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. It does,
At least you can go to the Mets, though. Honestly,
I know.
I did there was a jolt of happiness with the sadness.
Yeah.
That he's going to the AL. I got no problem with the Red Sox. Go do your thing. It's a great town, great city, great baseball town. Good for you, Ranger.
Yeah. There's also the good for you. I mean, the guy gets $130 million.
That's my point. Good for you,
He's worked his butt off to develop his skill.
Yeah.
And so, anyway.
And given what Alex Bregman was to that team, they offered Ranger more than they offered Alex Bregman, which shows that how much they believe in him, how much they want him.
Well, Ranger, when healthy, can be excellent.
Rangers.
All right, so look, the whole Ranger thing, including the whole Phil's offseason on the table. Be curious where you stand on the Ranger front, 215-592-9494. Painter better be good. Say that. And Luzardo better stay. I'll say that. All right, let's get to the birds. So maybe Patullo stays, but not with power. So Patullo, as we know, downgraded 2 days ago. And so open offensive coordinator position, a million names flying around, many of which are very prominent. And the real question, in my opinion, it isn't who to hire, although that's a huge question. I think that's the secondary question. I think the main question is whether to reinvent the offense or not. Put another way, whether they should with Jalen. I mean, Jalen's the quarterback. I'm not twisting that up. What I'm saying is, knowing that Jalen's the quarterback, should they try to do a whole bunch of different things, i.e. reinvent the offense, or pretty much do what they've done, but just hope with a better running game and maybe Jalen running more that they can get back to what they had been? John, where do you come down? And again, I'm curious from everyone at 215-592-9494. It's a really simple question. Should the Eagles reinvent the offense with Jalen? Will they?
Yes.
If they did, would it work? John, what are your thoughts?
Of course they need to reinvent the offense. When Kellen Moore walked out the door and left his play calling duties, we essentially lost 5 points a game and 62 rushing yards a game. Scheme matters. And there are offensive coaches out there on successful teams who put their players in better position to win every down than what these coaches did for these Eagles players this year. We can be so much better. And now the issue becomes how he's going to have to pay guys on the defensive side of the football.
Big time.
You're going to have less talent offensively. Yep. How do you make up for that? Well, you out-scheme teams. You do what the 49ers do. You do what the Rams do. We need a smarter offense led by someone from the outside because that offense this season was spectacularly dumb. And, I've talked ad nauseum about the way our season ended on a play that had no right being on an NFL field, no purpose being on a professional sports field in such a big moment. we didn't score enough as all season long against the good teams, and now we have a chance to add a lift, a new mind that's going to have, I would assume, a lot more autonomy than previously. Vic Fangio, we love what he's done with that defensive side of the football. We also recognize that Nick Sirianni didn't hire him. Nick Sirianni was hired after Vic Fangio. So why change what's been successful previously? Let Howie, let the front office figure out the best offensive coordinator.
Look at Jon Ritchie saying, let's have Lori and Howie hire somebody. Look at that.
Well, that's what they did with Vic.
Times have changed.
This offense needs help. And right now, what we hear is Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll are at the top of the list. I like both of these guys because of what it appears they've done in bringing young quarterbacks along. Remember, Mike McDaniel took Tua to a new level entirely. This was a couple years ago, and things have deteriorated since. But Tua was considered the next up-and-comer.
Yeah, he looked like a top 10 guy.
Oh, he was lighting it up.
He had two great wide receivers at that point, so sure. For what it's worth.
McDaniel lights it up. And that's with a run game specialty. He's a run game savant who is also able to develop young quarterbacks. I love that idea. I am very aware that he would be using us as a springboard to the next job.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Daboll maybe wouldn't. And Daboll
he would try to.
Jackson Dart. Well, sure, he wants to be a head coach again, but maybe he would sit tight until the right job, buying us more time, more years with a good offensive coordinator. He took Jackson Dart and made him look legit. I don't know how much of that's Jackson Dart. I know he needed taught properly, and he seemed to be brought along quickly. And then, of course, Daboll was the guy who brought Josh Allen into prominence. I like both those guys that you hear they're considering. Cliff Kingsbury, another really creative offensive play caller, and he took Jaden Daniels to new levels, but his run game is a little bit, a little bit different. He's a little bit more of a departure from what I would assume our Jeff Stoutland, our run game coordinator, is accustomed to. So I don't know if it meshes quite as well. I think I'd be thrilled with any of these play callers because they've been there and they've done it. They've called plays in this league, and they've proven to be creative and, at the front end of the changes that are being made every year.
So, look, I'm curious.
I don't know if Vic even likes McDaniel, though, so that could be a real problem. Yeah, I think McDaniel is the top of my list, but a lot is contingent on how Vic Fangio feels about Mike McDaniel from the time they spent together in Miami.
Yeah, for those that don't know, McDaniel part of Fire and Vic, just 2 years ago. Look, 215-592-9494 in this whole thing. I'll tell you, part of me honestly doesn't even care at this point, and I guess I don't literally mean that, but part of my mindset is like, look, you want to see a reinvent an offense and find out if Jalen can do it, fine, go for it. I don't think it'll work. I don't think they really should do it. I think they should try. And when I say try, I'm talking about May installation, June. All right, everyone break. You got 6 weeks off. Get back in training camp in July. Try. August, try. You want to try at the beginning of the season in games, fine. But I can honestly tell you that this idea of Jalen suddenly choosing to throw the ball across the middle with his, one, very conservative nature, and two, shorter than most starting quarterback nature, I just don't think it'll work. But if you want to try it, fine. I mean, seriously, go for it. I don't think it'll work. Therefore, I don't think they should really stick with it if it's not working. But if you want to give it a shot, fine.
What are you saying?
What am I saying?
Absurd.
I just told you.
If you want to give offense a shot,
if
you want to give making your offense workable a shot, go ahead, knock yourself out. What are you doing? What are you talking about?
Let's find out.
This team needs offense. This team has a great defense.
Team needs healthy players so you can hand the ball off and have a running game. And he's got to run the ball.
And in order to have a great offense, you need someone who knows how to call it.
Yeah, look, to me, it's pretty obvious. Eagles ran the same offense 5 years in a row. See, that's one of the big misconceptions here. The only thing that two things really changed. One, the players got hurt up front. And two, Jalen stopped running.
And the guy calling the plays changed. You keep underrating that.
It's the same stuff.
But there's a rhythm. There's a feel. Yes, there is. Of course, you think
same stuff.
Okay.
They didn't have a healthy offensive line.
You don't think that calling the right plays in the right moments matters?
I do, but I don't think that was the heart of the matter at all.
I think it was a massive part of the matter.
I don't. They couldn't run the ball effectively because they weren't healthy, and Jalen stopped running. And then it's like, well, it's a slog. Well, yeah, it was a slog in the passing game previously. But, they just were more reliant on this year, and it looked bad. Look, you want to try it, go for it. I don't think it'll work. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. I don't think it'll work. 215-592-9490.
Hold on.
What?
So what's your answer?
My
You're
answer is
saying
get
if
a
you want to
healthy
try it,
offensive
go
line.
for it. What's your plan?
My answer
for
is
this team?
Jalen Hurts' job is on the line in 2026 based on how they implement it. I'm keeping the backup quarterback. I'm considering door number 3, which is anyone I can acquire either this offseason or next offseason that theoretically can slide in there in 2027. That's my solution.
I think that's kind of the way it works for everyone. Well, everyone should be paranoid every day they're in that locker room looking over their shoulder because someone might be better. Coaches included. That's
of course,
the nature of a competitive sport.
Yeah. Look, where do you stand on this? Do you think it would work? Do you think they'll do it? Should they? Will they? 215-592-9494. The concept of reinventing it. Go for it or not. What do you think? Let us know. Plus the Ranger thing. It is a bummer, even if it's the right decision for the Phillies economically. But it's still a bummer.